Welcome back to Advanced Google Ads Strategies with Qasim and John. Today is a new day.
Totally. We're definitely not wearing the same clothes, and we didn't just finish shooting a video before. By the way, wait till tomorrow to watch the previous video if you haven't already. Hopefully you'll forget by then.
Confused me. So today's video should be watched today, but yesterday's video should be watched tomorrow, even though they were both shot on the same day.
Well, I was trying to hide that fact that it was shot on the same day. Yeah.
Playing catch up. Today we're talking about how to use the demographic information inside of Google Ads.
Yeah, we kind of got off on a tangent on that last video, and we just decided to make a new video out of it in case people want to know this more specifically. So that's what we're talking about: demographic information, what it is, how it's come about, what to do with it, when to do something with it, and how not to mess it up.
Yeah, that was a good summary. Do we even need to shoot the rest of this video?
Just hire Solutions 8 and see you tomorrow.
Bam.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
All right, let's share screens here. That work? You see it?
Yep, got it.
Yay. I'm gonna move that over here. There we go. Okay, so today we're gonna be talking about demographics, and I wanna go over some kind of basic principles. First thing, basic principle number one, what is demographics? Demographic is Google's interpretation of what they believe the user's attributes are with age, gender, parental status, and household income. The basic, I guess, principle number two of how it's derived, how this information is gathered, is majority of the time, there's other information here, but majority of the time for the age, gender, and parental status is the crowdsourced information of AdSense. And what AdSense is not, for people not in the know, is when a website needs to monetize its website, like you have a blog, for example, and you want to sell ad space on there. Part of the process of telling Google Ads what your website is when you want to sell ads on it is, you know, what is the age, gender, and parental status of your users most of the time. Like what is the general details about that. So if you're, and I used this in a last video, this example, but if you're Etsy.
I've never been to Etsy.
Yeah.
What is that, John?
You haven't been to Etsy. All right, good. So Etsy tells Google that usually between the ages of 18 and 24 female is their primary user base. Well, if you're a person that visits Etsy a lot, Google may think you're an 18 to 24-year-old female, Qasim, because I know you go on Etsy, so you're a female to Google. So that's kind of that's how it's gathered. Now, most of the time it's fairly accurate because people that just normally surf websites online are going to be probably pretty much accurate with the type of people who normally visit. That's why statistics exist, but it's not exact. And for that reason, our kind of basic principle number three is, I guess not even a basic principle, really just like the first strategy, I guess, is how to not mess it up right off the bat. Big issue that we see with clients, and when we take over campaigns and we ask them really detailed questions like, hey, I see that you excluded the ages of 18 up to 34. Why'd you do that? And they're like, well, I just didn't think it was gonna be a right fit. And they're like, oh, have you ever tested it? No. Do you want to test it? Oh, sure. And if we always think it's a really good idea to start completely unrestricted in age, gender, parental status, household income, completely open, because A, it may not be accurate, B, might be surprised and as to what actually starts to convert the best. For example, this client here, their best audience group, I guess I would say, is between the ages of 25 and 44. Now that just happened to be what we're getting conversions as because we did actually work in the beginning and say we want to target everybody, and then found out that the ages of 18 and 24 and then above 55 don't really have a good conversion to their offering. It means after they convert, they don't really continue to move forward with whatever they're selling. And I'm trying to be vague because I don't want to give the client's name away. But what we did is when you're looking at the ages of 18 to 24, 55 to 64, 65 plus, we gave it a little bit of time. That's why you see that they have low clicks, and we ended up excluding them because while they did convert better than we thought, you can see that there's more conversions and clicks on the bar graph here. That doesn't actually add up that way. It's 350 clicks, 132 conversions. But what happened is post conversion, we found that they did not want to continue moving forward or signing up for the service as much as the 25 to 34 did.
Can I pause you there, Don? I just want to say this goes back to making sure you're tracking data post-conversion. We have a video on UTM strategies. If you're
Mhm.
not keeping track of what a lead is doing after, and this is really mostly for lead generation, but I think also for e-commerce as it pertains to lifetime value of a lead. If you're not keeping track of what people are doing after conversion, you're going to have a really hard time optimizing your campaign because now you're tracking for, or now you're optimizing for conversions and not for revenue, which, puts you at a disadvantage.
Yeah, even if you're not tracking conversions, I've had that happen too, where people are starting excluding audience members, and I'm like, why'd you do that? And they're like, well, I don't think it's going to work really well. I'm like, well, I haven't even been tracking any conversions, so how can you make that assumption? And most of it goes back to kind of marketing 101, your target demographic. Um, it's just not the case here. And one example is, let's say you want the 45 to 64 range, so you exclude 18 to 24. Well, you just excluded the ability for their son or daughter or younger relative to help them out in their search, because now when the son or daughter, for example, needs to help grandma find a new nursing home, they won't find your ad when they're trying to help out grandma. So that's a reason where you have to think about it. It's not just who do I want to attract, who's going to be the person actually taking the action, actually doing the button pushing, because they might even fill out grandma's name or grandpa's name, but the person that was searching was an 18-year-old that now you've excluded it and you don't know why Google Ads doesn't work really well for you. So it's definitely something that you want to take into consideration. Another thing is household income. This one's actually pretty cool. Household income, and now I can give the industry. This is debt consolidation industry. But what's interesting about the household income is it's not necessarily the person making the income, or the house that's or the family member that's making the income, or the target demographic. Google uses census data by zip code. So keep that in mind when you think about, well, what areas do I want to target or spend more or spend less on? And if you think about zip codes and you think about population density, you can have a huge population in a zip code that, or even vice versa, you have a small population in a zip code and you have a gated community next to a trailer park. That's just top 10% earners and then lower 50% earners in the same zip code. So you have to think about, what are the users in the zip code that I want to target, or what are the zip codes that I'll target. You could target a major metropolitan area, but if you took out the 31 to 31 to lower 50%, you might cut out 3/4 of that whole city. And you're thinking, well, I just don't want the people that make little money to click on my ad, but you actually just wiped out half the city. So it's really important to look at the actual geographical area when talking about household income, and not who do I want to have as a lead or a client, or who's going to buy my product, because you can have $1 million next to $10,000 sitting in the same zip code, and now you just wiped out both. So
yeah, especially depending on the metro you're targeting. I mean, if you're going to go to LA, there's going to be way more variation than if you're in, somewhere that has, honestly, like Phoenix. If the Phoenix has a ton of suburban sprawl, it's a lot easier to sort of identify and slice and dice
yeah.
Demographic income. That's good to know.
Yep. So the way that now parental status and gender and age are all approximate, but household income is one that goes off of census data for zip codes, and it's relative, I guess I should say. 10% income earners in North Dakota are a different dollar amount than the top 10% income earners in New York City.
Sure.
So you have to think about that as well. So think about nationwide. If you cut out any one of these, you're taking out millions of people that are probably in your target demographic. So yeah, that's the way to do it. Now, talking about strategy number 2, well, what do you do with this data? Our recommendation is to start with bid adjustments at a small scale. So what I mean is, don't say like, well, that one didn't work for me, take out 100% of them. You want to start at a small scale and then track that measurement. So start with -10%, -15, -20, maybe -30% if you're like pretty precise about, I definitely don't want men searching or finding this website for whatever reason. You'll want to make sure that you start to set those bid adjustments gradually, because again, since it is halfway relevant data, like it's pretty strong data, it's not exact. Start to make those adjustments small, then gradually work your way up, and then track, is it heading in the right direction? Are my KPIs moving the way that I want them to move? Is my conversion rate increasing? Are my clicks decreasing, or conversion rate staying the same? My costs going down, but my conversion rate's getting higher? Am I getting more conversions, but for less cost, whatever it is. So just track those movements and make sure that it's not something that you just kind of throw a wrench in the gear, especially when using an automated bidding strategy, because then you just pretty much confuse the algorithm and now you got to start over. So yeah, it's something that we like to make sure that you move slowly, meticulously, and with a lot of attention to it, because ancillary things happen that you weren't expecting. Yeah, I got more leads, but now the wrong type of lead. Who knows? You gotta make sure
you've
that.
already kind of said this, but you have to have enough data. If you just have 100 clicks and you run around, shutting down entire demographics, then it's a non-starter. Your campaign's gonna fail before it.
Yep, and exactly, like this one, lower 50%, negative 70%, because we said we're definitely going to simply just remove this audience. And we did two things. One, we tested it without any restrictions. And then the second thing is the closest I will get to completely removing audience is a negative 70%, because I will be wrong. But this actually worked out really well. We saw an acquisition cost, we need to be under 2%. We went from 4% to 1.8. We went from non-goal to goal after sweepingly just removing everybody that we didn't want, to up to 70%. So, but we did see a reduction in clicks. So there's a little bit of give and take there. So yeah, this is kind of a recap of demographics. Age, gender, parental status are estimates, household incomes exact by zip code. To always test first. Don't just remove an audience because you think, that's not my target demographic. You're thinking about who is doing the searching, not who is your client. Another good example of that real quick would be large corporations usually have interns doing the research work for them. Interns are generally younger, both men and women. So you don't want to just exclude the younger demographic when you're trying to, go do some good B2B lead generation, because the person that was looking for you to go maybe up to their superior and say, hey, I found the people we should talk to, just couldn't find you. So age, gender, parental status, estimates, household income, exact. Always start off the bat wide open. Test to see what is actually going to give you not only good conversions, but good conversions post conversion, that the lead is generated is of good quality. And then start to slowly make those adjustments and monitor that data. So start at 5 and 10 and 15, 20%, work your way up, make sure it's trending in the right direction so you don't accidentally shoot yourself in the foot. And as you can see in here, since March 1st, we spent $30,000 on these 3 campaigns. And so, we have a lot of data to work with. We know the numbers really well. We track GCLID, we track conversion rate post conversion from Google Ads. We track the quality of that conversion, the amount of currency that is involved in that transaction. So yeah, a lot of really good, things can come from demographics, but you can accidentally just fail a campaign right off the bat. Yeah, and just make sure you're tracking your conversions, because this is gonna be useless to you if you're not tracking every conversion. Yeah, you'll make those sweeping adjustments and then cross your fingers, which is never good.
Google Ads, isn't it? I mean, it's the #1 most catastrophic error we see. It's the most common error. People either not tracking conversions at all or not properly tracking their conversions.
Yeah, and you could be a media buy guru. You know your demographics, but this is a tool that will tell you what actually happened, because usually media buy is like, all right, it's going to go to this age, sex, location, great, and then run it. But then you just got to, hopefully that works. It's good advertising. This one will actually tell you how it functions. So might as well track that and see how it works.
Yeah, this is awesome. If you're watching and you have questions, hit the comments. Don't forget to share the video if you think other people are going to benefit from it. Like, subscribe. John, do you want to do the bell thing?
Yeah, and hit the bell.
I feel bad saying it now. I don't want to steal your bell thunder.
Yeah, that's all right. But when you hit the bell, then your phone goes off, and then you can watch another awesome video from us.
Bam. Yeah, and we'll see you guys. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Thanks, y'all.